have to admit, this title is a little bit misleading because I don't actually do that much planning for my weekly newsletter. I like my emails to be pretty informal and to sprinkle in links to my offers. So I tend to do that if they fit in with what I'm talking about. Because my products are evergreen, meaning that I sell them all year long and I don't do these big all singing, all dancing live launches, this is just the way I prefer to do things. But I do plan a little bit in advance, particularly if the school holidays are just around the corner. So let's jump into Notion and have a look.
Well, let's go into my newsletter that I sent on Tuesday this week. So I always give it a title, so I tend to give it the date if it's a newsletter, then the title newsletter, and then the purpose of that newsletter. So this one was feedback. Then the date that I was sending the newsletter. And then if I was planning this well in advance, I would put an overview in here and I would put preview text in here. I don't tend to use preview text because it kind of stops me from sending emails because I always think it has to be clever and I can never think of anything. So then I have my subject line and my email copy. So I would plan it all out in here and then when I'm happy with it, transfer it to my email marketing platform, which I use, Maillight. I would have the status here as planning. It's in scheduled because I've already sent it. In fact, I can change this to sent. So that's all very well and good. If I'm planning my email newsletter, but I'm not actually doing it all at the point of planning, let me just go back into this. So this is my email for next week. I've got this an idea. We'll change that to planning. What I can do is create a task to write email newsletter for tomorrow. That's what I'm wanting to do. I can go into that and I can set the date for the 9th of October. That means that I remember to, I don't want this one. I remember to write this email at least the day before it's due to go out. And that means that it will show up in my task list, which is, if I view by next week, you can see write email newsletter for tomorrow, and here it is, so I don't forget to write it.
But the bigger thing for me with weekly newsletters is I want to be able to track the results and see everything at a glance together. I want to know what kind of subject lines lead to opens, what content leads to clicks, and maybe even what content leads to sales, so that I know what my audience are interested in and so that I can create more along those lines. So this is why I include tracking stats as part of my email marketing planner in Notion, so that I can see all of this at a glance and see what's working best.
So let's go into my Maillight and look at my last campaign. So this is that campaign that I sent. So I want to put in my open rate into my calendar. So my open rate, these are all in the wrong order, let me just move them around. Open rate to click rate. So my open rate for this email was, I've already forgotten it, 42.4. And my click rate was 1.6. And this wasn't a sales email, so I'll put 0 in here. So if I go into my database version of my email campaign and sort by click rate, and I want it descending, this will show my top click rate emails and I can see it in order. And then I could do the same with income by email and I can see what emails are working. So that's why it's a handy way to track it.
So an email newsletter is a one-off email, but how do you plan an email sequence, whether that's going out for a specific time in your diary or whether it's an evergreen sequence that is going out when people sign up to your list, for example? I'll be sharing that in my next video, and if you're watching this after it's published, I'll leave a link to it in the corner here.